Welcome to another episode of Lifelong Learner. This is the Out of Class edition with Ben, Janesh, and Matt. Hope you enjoy.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Lifelong Learner. Benny, how you doing this morning?
Mate, really, really good, but disappointed. Sadly, Matty broke parole, and
They're after him again.
He's been sent back.
I know. And you know what? Those that don't believe us, call him, and his phone's off or disconnected. So,
No, we're obviously joking, listeners. Matty hasn't broken parole, but he still is on parole.
how you doing this morning, mate? Welcome back to Australia.
Yes,
Actually?
it's great to be back. It's really great to be back. I got on the blower with my coach. And that's interesting, you know. I often have coaching clients say to me,
Mate, just hold on. When you say blower, those that aren't in Australia, that means the phone.
The phone, yes, the blower. Phone. My coaching clients are often surprised when I say, oh, my coach. And they go, what? You've got a coach? I go, of course I've got a coach. It's, like I'm a chiropractor and I have a chiropractor that looks after my spine. I have a coach that looks after my mindset, looks after me and makes sure that I'm doing the right thing. So anyway, I was on the phone to my coach and, it's really interesting that, I hold the space for my clients and I hold them to a higher standard, and we have them play above the line. That is, be at cause rather than at effect. We always play above the line when I'm on a coaching call with my clients. But when I get to be the client, I get to play below the line. I love doing that. It's just such a relief to go below the line sometimes. Anyway, I was having a great little bitch and a moan to my coach around just how hard it was while I was away on holiday to coach and to do things. Because you see the Instagram picture, or back in the days when there were magazines, and you'd see it's a picture of a guy on a hammock and he's got a laptop and the money's just rolling in and he's sitting on a laptop making millions working away from home.
How is that, mate? How is that in reality? How does that?
Well, it's not like that. It's not like that. It's just hard work. It's finding a library to do your next Zoom meeting out of. It's
booking a function room for your Zoom clients.
Booking a function room. It's the laptop has no longer got any charge. It's the iPad cable is somehow broken between the last time you did a Zoom call. And on it goes, right? So there's a lot of pain. Anyway, so I was having a bitch and a moan about that. And he said, so if you take an iceberg and you put it up at the North Pole, it actually could even grow up there at the North Pole. But if you take that iceberg and you float it down to the equator, no matter how much that iceberg says, I'm not going to melt. I'm not going to melt. Well, I am not going to melt. I'm not going to melt. That iceberg, she melts when she gets to the equator. And he said, no matter how much you go away saying, hey, this is going to be amazing, I'm going to coach just as well as I could, and, it's all going to be fantastic. It's not how it works. Environment, as we've said so many times on this podcast, dictates performance. And so in answering your question, mate, and I went around a big circle there, it is great to be home because I'm back in my coaching suite, got my iMac, my second screen, my standing desk, my backlighting, which I'm not there today, but it's just glorious. Mm-hmm. It's just beautiful. So it is great to be home, back working from my office. As we might have talked about, I'm not home as far as back in my house though, because we rented a house out for a couple of months, and so we've come home and can't get back into our home. So we've taken an apartment down in Macrae, literally across from the beach. So I'm sitting here looking out a window, but it's this beautiful old artist bench, sitting here on a stool looking out the window, and there's the beach. So we're really blessed to be down here, and till we get back into our house again. So right, so life's good, and it's great to be home. Great to be back seeing the kids and with the team.
So did you go back to grab a few of your stuff or what?
We'd packed a couple of spare suitcases, knowing that we weren't going to be able to get back into our
Okay. Yep.
left those in-laws. So we grabbed those.
Yep.
So we've got a bit more of a wardrobe selection, except for my black t-shirts.
Oh, mate. But how did you talked about this just before going, mate? I think you were. I'm not sure if you were at home when we did that episode or you at the clinic, but you talked about Michelle picking up these $6. No, you thought they were going to be $3 t-shirts, but they were actually $10 or $15, and you're like, oh, I don't know about these. How they lasted? They've lasted.
This is one of them. This is one of the Big W $3.95 something t-shirts.
Yeah.
It's still lasting now. I did just put it on because I've been out exercising this morning, so I put a fresh one on it, and it's kind of shrunk a little bit. But that could be the dryer. But it's a little bit shrunken, and it's not one that you'd wear. Like if you wanted to wear a black t-shirt out to look cool at a club or out for dinner, it's not one of the t-shirts you'd wear.
Gotcha.
But,
okay.
But on a podcast, it's perfect for a podcast.
It's great. It's great.
Podcast. So, thank you, Big W, mate. How about you? What's been going on for you? You've kind of settled right back into the rhythm, I suppose.
Yeah.
School over.
Yeah. So kind of right back into the rhythm. I think, last week. I think after a couple of our conversations, I think last week sparked a few just final quarter pushes. It's like kind of that time of year, right? It's like there's still a lot of potential on the table for progress for just not only our business but for clients as well, and just kind of bring that to light, which is interesting. Which has been fun because people go, oh, okay. I'm like, no, let's push hard, and then you'll enjoy more like end of December. Like not much happens middle of December in Australia till end of January, really. But let's push hard, and that's been fun. It's kind of not like let's coast to the end. That's been exciting. I think a bit of a I don't know what it's been. Maybe it's the longer days. Just a focus, re-energized. I don't know what the word would be. On the running, which is nice, because there was a bit of a slump there where it felt forced, and I was like, oh, I don't like it. I don't like it being forced. Like, oh, I got to run. I got to do this. Like, I lost a bit of the enjoyment of it for a period. But that's coming back, which is nice, which is really good, actually. And doing that smarter as opposed to let's go do 20 now, because I know my mind can, but the body won't pay for it today, but the body will pay for it in 4 weeks' time. So trying to do that smarter.
As Michelle would say, so too will the rest of the family.
Yes. Yes. And you know what? Michelle and Keisha will agree. Yep, the rest of the family does. The rest of the family will.
Yeah.
Very much.
Hey, I tell you what's been an interesting feeling I've had. I had a great time. I did a lot of running while I was away because it was new territory and exploring every morning, going out for a run and finding a new place to run. But coming home, it's the same old territory. I've run all these streets, even down here at Macrae. I've been running in the past, and I felt like, I don't quite feel like a run this morning, but it's scheduled in my calendar to do a run. But what's been the saving grace is it's scheduled in the calendar to run, and then I realise I'm actually running with someone. So on Mondays I run with Gaz, on Thursdays I run with Brad, and on Fridays I run with my brother.
Yeah.
And I look forward to the catch up.
Yes.
It used to be it was like 80% looking forward to the run and 20% to the catch up. Now it's 80% looking forward to the catch up and 20% for the run.
Oh, that's cool.
So running with someone, that's our tip for you. If you can find a running buddy that you've got a commitment to catch up at a certain day, certain time. And make it a conversational run. And
it's like with someone is always great accountability, right? And we have a local running group here that I know there's usual regular runs on, but if I post a comment, say on Facebook, yep, I'm in, like I am definitely waking up and I'm in. Like there's no way that I will not, like, unless something's happened or whatever. Like I'm like, because they usually will wait. They'll wait like 5-10 minutes. Like, oh, Janesh said he's coming, right? And you just don't want to be that guy saying he's coming. And the group waits, and then you don't turn up. So no, that's been good. And mate, as of like last night, so even you said, I've got into the rhythm of things, which is good. I've in the next not tomorrow, Friday, for like 5 days, my rhythm will be thrown a little bit, which is fine. So,
what's happening?
I am doing a smash and grab trip to America.
What?
Yeah, so I wish it was on better circumstances, but Mum's brother passed away on the weekend, and he's been ill for a while, and ideally Mum's younger brother would go, right? So, and she's got a couple of back things, bits and pieces. Her passport came in time, which is great. I went and saw the doctor yesterday, and the doctor's like, I don't recommend you travel for that long of a period if you can't break up the flights. Like, because he goes, look, if you can go Melbourne to LA, wait a day or two just to reset, get your back all sorted again, lay in a bed, and then go, and then go again. And there's no time, like, meaning, so like funeral arrangements on the weekend. So it's like look, that's not a luxury that we have at the moment. So, mate, so and I'm like, look, I'm happy to go to represent the family on it, because that uncle, like her brother, came over for my brother's funeral, right? And we did it in the week as well, so in such a short time frame. So, mate, I fly at Friday morning.
What?
Yeah.
Have you flown first class before?
No, I'm not flying first. I'm not. It's funny because my mum was looking at business just for her back, and they're like, we'll cover some. I'm like, look, I'll cover some of the flight, and they're like, book whatever. And I'm like, nah. And because it's one of those things where it's a necessity flight, but it's like when you're there, you're like, you go all that way, go, look, can I make the most of it? But I'm back, mate. I'm back Thursday.
It's a long flight. So we flew, I think it was 6 or 8 hours from Thailand to Melbourne.
Yep.
Mate, that was so uncomfortable.
Oh, mate, it's
been a long time since I've done a long flight.
Mate, I've got 23 hours of flying, or 24 hours of flying on Friday. So Melbourne to LA. And then LA to Houston.
So how long is Melbourne to LA?
14 and a half, 15 or so.
And that's non-stop, is it?
Yep.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So, and then I think it's like 3 or 4 or something after. But there's a bunch of layovers in there. So, smash.
There's no layover between Melbourne and LA. It's direct 14 hours.
Yeah, or you go via Sydney, right? Sydney or Brisbane, right? Yep. To rake it up. And sometimes they actually put on my thing, if the flight doesn't fill, they will go from Sydney. So they would go, hey, they would still ticket me Melbourne to Sydney and then pick up people in Sydney and go Sydney to there. So if it doesn't fill, they'll go that way, which is fine.
I'm curious, what did the flight cost compared to flying business?
Mate, so I'm going Melbourne to Houston, right? That's my ticket, Melbourne to Houston, and then I've got a domestic flight from Houston to Flint, Michigan, to see some relatives for 20 hours. I see them. And then the next day I fly out from Flint to Melbourne, but then you go from Flint, Michigan to fucking Chicago to San Francisco to Sydney to Melbourne on the way home. So I'll be a bit.
Well, back soon.
A long haul. So on short notice, 5.6, like for you, 5.90.
And business would have been 15.
17. Because I did look at it. I'd looked at it for and then I try to get I try to be really creative and go, all right, if I just did the long haul ones, what would that be? So I could do each ticket separate. Because domestic there in the States, business or first, isn't great. It's just like premium economy. It's like, and it was still 15. And I was like, fuck, 3 times the price. And I was like, especially for a smash and grab trip, I was like, nah. If anything longer or if I can invoice a client for it, sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a quick.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
It'll be obviously it's a funeral, but it'll be high energy 5 days.
And it's also there, mate. In terms of high energy, on the way back, talk about short layovers, right? I've got a 43-minute layover.
So you get off the plane
and you just run.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you run. So I'm just flying with my carry-on.
That's great.
Yeah. So just carry on, laptop, shirt, tie, slacks for funeral, and a couple of pairs of a pair of jeans and a pair of shorts. And that's really it. Because Texas, it's 34 degrees at the moment.
Yeah, beautiful.
And then Michigan's mid 20s. Still, it's on the tail end of their summer, but it's 22, 23. So yeah. So that's all I'm taking. Laptop, a book, my glasses. That's it. So really, and it's quick because you don't have to wait for the carousel or you check in and all that. You just go, you know what, I've got what I need on my back, and that's really all I need.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's really good. That's good, mate. Oh, it'll be an
adventure.
Yeah. I love it.
Definitely. I booked the mystery car. Right, mystery car at the hire place, and you can go just check whichever ones you want. And I'm like, I want a mystery car to see if I can get there, and they give me a Mustang. Would be great. So you book. It's it's higher than the smaller car, but it's I'll book a mystery one and see what happens.
Is it a bit extra for mystery?
It's a bit extra than your cheaper one.
Yeah. And
there's set classes that there can be. So you might get what I'm hyping is I get a Mustang or some big Escalade, big truck thing, big GMX. Yeah, something, because I'm using it only for 4 days, Friday through Monday before I go to Michigan. So something fun.
This is going to be interesting when we catch up in a couple of weeks and Janesh got a Corolla.
Nah, I'll get this little Yaris or a little smart car. So that should be, it's kind of when you say settle. And it's also interesting because it's I like it and I know I do well in it. I do well in it. I don't know if I like it all the time, chaos, right? And when there's chaos going on, it's I'm really good at it. It's not sustainable. I know it's not sustainable, but I can bring certainty in chaos. But then next week we fly back Thursday, and then we have a pretty big client on the Friday all day. So it's not even, and you're just going to be on 8 a.m. We've got 50 correction officers ready to go.
And then you'll go autopilot. You'll know that.
Mate. And then camping on the weekend. So next week will be a big next weekend. So it'll be a big weekend.
Where are you camping?
Breakaway Rivers. But
camp trailer.
Yeah, camp trailer. Yeah. So two other families. I think we're about 2 hours away, inland type of thing. So it'll be a big week, I reckon. but it's exciting. It's like when I think, like last night I was like, oh fuck, I don't know about this. But now I wake up, I'm like, all right, it's going to be good. So yeah, which would be nice. But I think chaos is interesting. It's good, but then it's like sometimes people look at chaos and it's like they're in a different. It's like a different language sometimes. Like people just don't know what to do in chaos, or like a lot of change. And when I mean chaos, like I mean a lot of change. A lot of change. Do you think that is just not a norm in overall society, or just not taught, or it's not people are easier to just throw their hands up?
Well, I think I've got two answers to you there. The first answer I think I want to give you is, I think many of us perform well under different circumstances, and there's a group that perform well when their back's against the wall. Mm-hmm. I'm one of those people. My new practice I'm opening in Rosebud, I just couldn't get my teeth into it at all while I was away on holiday. Not because I was on holiday, but just because there just wasn't the pressure there. There just wasn't quite enough pressure. And the moment I got home, got the keys, mate, it's been all on, like all happening. It's like it's all going. And I think there's a group of people that perform well when their back's against the wall, and I think you're one of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it too.
If it's just too cruisy, if the path is too easy, you're just sort of a bit aimless. But if there's a cliff in front of you, like all of a sudden you switch to another. There's just another part of you comes out. So I think that there's a group of people where they're their best when it's super tough.
Yeah.
And I think that's you. And then secondly, and I think where you were possibly heading to, I think we've all got a bit soft and comfortable. Everyone wants comfort. I read a great book called Comfort, and there's a subtitle that I can't think of, but the guy's principle is that evolutionary, genetically, we're designed to do hard things. Our body actually needs to do hard things.
Yeah.
And people don't do hard things. Everyone's looking for the soft meat, the softest cut. And they're looking for the best air conditioning and the smoothest road and the most comfortable ride. And he said, we need to get tough. We're getting super soft as a race. And so putting ourselves in places where there's an opportunity to do hard things, I really like the idea of that. He talks about doing a misogi. I'll probably pronounce that wrong. A misogi's a Japanese thing. The samurais used to do it where they would put themselves in an ice waterfall or an ice pond for a period of time. It was kind of a part of their yearly ritual. And so he talks about in life doing these misogis, these moments where we, on purpose, put ourselves in a tough situation. Did we talk about this in a previous podcast?
We did talk about doing hard things. We did.
Yeah.
And you just think people. Welcome, Matt. By the way, mate, looks like you're in a moving van, mate. Are you calling in from your parole van? Are you calling in from the parole van? They've let you zoom in, mate. You're moving, and it's like.
Matty.
I feel like. Are you calling in from your parole van, mate? What's going on here?
Don't pan down to the ankle bracelet.
I know. And I'll see how you just go and cut it, and you can't really tell your correction officer there to turn the radio down, mate. I think they're the boss of you.
Boys, good morning. I've been bombarded with humour. Hilarious.
Yes.
This is what it must feel like to be in the FBI or the CIA. It's amazing. In a moving van using the interweb. Fantastic. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for technology and my partner who's currently sourcing internet while I'm on the internet. It's amazing.
There you go.
I have 2 bars. Perfect. I caught the tail end of what you were talking about. It's exciting. there's already a topic in the air. So we're talking about needing to do hard things to build resilience. Weak people, something like that. Am I on the right page?
Yeah, we were talking about your question was, Janesh. Do you want to ask Maddie your question?
Yeah, I said, why do you think majority of people, I think not necessarily weak, but just don't do well in hard times of change, right? Times of chaos or times of uncertainty, and Ben was saying that he was reading a book called Comfort, and not many people willingly do hard things anymore, and but fundamentally, are we in workplaces, in schools, in just everyday, day to day, are we teaching, hey, hard things are okay, hard things are good, and sometimes you have to do the hard things, right? Like sometimes you do have to do like the hustle, and the hustle might be like not sustainable for years, but it's like you might got to do these hard things to either to get where you want to be, or it's not like hey, take this magic pill and you've got your six pack, right? Like you got to do the work. There's no easy way around it. And so the question is, do you think why is that not common? That's why is it not common? We're just not doing it. People are comfortable. We're just not teaching it. Just people just want the easy way out. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a great topic. I've actually been listening to a podcast that ties into this quite nicely, and it's about blind people. There's this blind guy who basically can see now, and he's mystifying the world because his parents, when he was young, decided to be courageous and let him do everything that he wanted to do. And so he never really knew that he was special or different because no one got his things for him. No one stopped him from riding a bike. He came up with this way to do it because he had to out of necessity, and he clicks. He goes, and he's like, uses sonar. Somehow he's managed to develop sonar, and he can literally, in saying that, he has cleaned up a pole at Mach 1 where his sonar hasn't worked and he knocked his front teeth out and nearly died. He's had multiple accidents, but his mum every time had the courage to say, well, that could have happened to anyone, and has just let him keep going. And it's got to the point where now he can literally, and they're looking into the science, but he basically can see. And he's taken on the role of re-educating blind people and helping organizations to actually create individuals that are independent. He said we've failed blind people because we do everything for them. And so, and it ties in with what you're saying, beneath it all was expectations. We put expectations on people and we limit them, and it's the expectations that prevent people from growing. And I think that that's what we do as a society now. We're so driven for comfort and safety and security that we hold each other back. We stop each other from struggling and having any pain. And if you stop the struggle, you stop the strength. You stop the development. So we're unconsciously, out of love, holding each other back from what we're capable of. And I just thought that was so eloquent put. And as he talks about his journey as a blind person, you just see that overlay, like for us as educators and coaches, that's what I see as well, that we're stopping kids from, leaping off something. We buy into their story when they get scared, and we say, no, you're right. You're not capable because you did just have that leg injury last month. And so you won't be able to do that. And that's okay. You're good enough. And so that kid misses that opportunity to really challenge themselves or fail or have to process failure, whatever it is, that strength that comes from trying difficult things. So I think it ties in quite nicely that there's this idea of, expectations. What do you think?
That's good, Matty. You know what I think also is there's also a culture out there of, and I had it yesterday. I was coaching a group, and we were talking about story. And someone said, this project that we're about to do, my story is it's going to be hard work. I need to change that story. Because, there's this little saying out there, don't work harder, work smarter. And I said, do you know what? I don't think you need to change your story. I think it's actually a good story to say this is going to be hard work, but change what hard work means to you. That hard work's not a bad thing. Hard work's a good thing. Go and work hard. There's a real culture out there of don't work hard. No, work hard. Like, you don't get big muscles going to the gym working smart. You've got to actually work hard when you go to the gym. You've got to lift the weight. And I think there's a real culture out there that says don't work hard. And I think we need to bring back working hard. Like, work hard. Get up early. Stay late. Put in the hours. Work hard.
Do you think that's sorry to cut you off, but do you think that is like a defense mechanism? What I mean by that is like, if sometimes that you work hard and you may not get where you want to go in that first, second, third shot, right? And it's like, and sometimes it's demoralizing, right? You're trying to make either a sport, you're trying to make you're going to have setbacks, right? And you've put everything in and it can knock you down to either pretty low or ground zero, right? But if I don't work hard, right? I just do, not even the bare minimum or a little bit more, I didn't work hard, it's fine. And it's like this, I didn't get it, but I didn't work hard, right?
Yeah.
And they don't really want to put themselves on the line there, and it's like, well, fuck off, in a nice way.
Because they've got the fallback story of, if I had tried, I would have got it. So it's like an idea of aim low, never be disappointed. Don't get caught working hard, because if you work hard and fail, you're a failure. But if you don't work and you just tinker, then if you fail, well, that's expected. It has nothing to do with you and how hard you worked and whether you were smart or not. I reckon you're onto something there, Janesh. I see that with young people, that idea of don't try too hard, because if you fail when you try, you're a try-hard. Better to fail doing nothing, because then you've still got hope. I could have been great.
Ben, what are your thoughts, Ben? What do you think? Why? And you said like hard is not. People don't do the work hard. Why? Do you think it's that, or why? Why do you reckon it's people stray away from it?
All comfort culture. We're told, we're discouraged from putting in the hours and working hard. But that was the way. That's the way. I got to say that this country was built, and so many places are built because people actually just went out and they sweated. They worked hard. They got up early and they finished late, and they worked hard, and it wasn't bad for them. Again, we look at the blue zones. People in blue zones, they actually work hard. They sweat. They lift. They push. They get up early. They stay up late. They do the extra. So I think that there's a cultural thing going on there. I think as well. I think Maddie's spot on there, that there is this fly under the radar. That I remember a coaching client years ago, and he came in and he was just bland. He walked bland. He dressed bland, beanie, black, just like unnoticeable. Like you wouldn't notice him. And his mum had sent him in, and we were chatting, and he said he can remember when he was 8, he played soccer, and his parents said to him, your grandfather's going to come and watch you play soccer this weekend. And he decided that on the Friday he was going to have a leg injury, so he was not able to play. So his grandfather couldn't see him play. And he said, from that moment onwards, I decided that I would try not to be noticed. So I'd fly under the radar. So when he went to high school, he didn't fail, because if you fail at high school, you get noticed.
You're on the radar. Yeah.
But he also didn't get A grades, because if you get A grades, you get noticed. So he just cruised through at 55, 60% scores for everything, and so that no one ever noticed him. And so he didn't fail, but he didn't necessarily succeed either. And so I think there's a lot of that going on. Kids, not just kids, but adults as well, wanting to just play in that very safe zone where they can't get noticed, because if they fail, and they don't get noticed either if they really succeed.
And it's interesting when they, like, if majority of society is like that, with no or minimal or no accountability or no spotlight, and for whatever reason they get put in a situation that has spotlight, and usually those type of people, it's unintentionally, they just don't do well. It's like literally a deer in headlights. It's like, what do you mean you're checking? What do you mean I need a report on this? And they're like, they just can't operate. Like, it's this interesting, like, they're flown under the radar for a while because they're doing good work, but not hard work, right? They're doing good work, and then it's like, well, hold on, where's the extra detail on this? And they just don't know what to do. Like, I'm seeing it with a few clients and some team members, and they're like, but they don't have a reference of it. Any with their previous is like, we've never had to front up.
Or the skills to cope when the magnifying glass is on them, so to speak, either, because they haven't learnt those skills through failure, right? So much of what we learn is from getting it wrong, and having somebody whose job is to magnify our strengths and weaknesses, and then we develop. I reckon in Australia it's tied back to, as well, this tall poppy syndrome, which is so prevalent. You know, you go to different countries have different ways of behaving. It's really curious. Like, Kat and I were talking about America. In America, really enthusiastic, and they sell themselves. I'm awesome. I do this. In Australia, we have this notion of, it's almost like humility, I think, is the positive side of it. But we cut each other down. At school, you see it a lot, right? If you're good at something, you're a try-hard. Did you do your homework? Nah, loser, like that kind of stuff, like teacher's pet thing. So I wonder whether that's conditioned at school too. It's taught that the actual subculture or the culture of the kids is don't try. You're allowed to be amazing at something through talent, but if it's through hard work, you're a try-hard. And I wonder if we have young men and women coming out of school, going into life, using a model or a map for a system that no longer, it doesn't function that way. You know, that's survival of the fittest at school. You get through school and then you come into life, and actually in life, people value hard work. They value work ethic. They value you going the extra mile. They want you to turn up 10 minutes earlier and leave 10 minutes later. And you got to do that for a while to prove yourself. And once you prove yourself, then you can start to develop new skills and habits that mean that you do less of the hard work, the sweat. Now you're managing a team. Now you're
you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know.
You don't know what you're talking about. You pay me first, you reward me, and then I'll do the hard work.
Yeah. No.
That's the way it is. Eddie, I don't know what you're talking about. Exactly right. Appoint me CEO, and then I'll earn the right to become CEO. Pay me at the start of the shift, and then if I feel like you've paid me enough, then I'll work hard enough throughout the shift.
Yeah, but sometimes and I'll be the judge.
Don't forget my 1.5 hours of lunch as well.
Fucking hell, right?
It's so funny. There's a line. So the local guy who runs this cafe that I go to quite regularly, absolute legend. He's an old school mentality. He employs 15, 18-year-olds. And I had a conversation with him because I work with 18-year-olds. Janesh and I work with young people. And he's saying, mate, the entitlement. I said, oh, yeah, sometimes. He goes, I had a line of about 40 people waiting to get into the cafe. And I have one of my staff come up to me and go, oh, it's my lunch break. And he goes, there's 40 people waiting to get into the cafe. No one's on a lunch break. He's like, no, I need to have my lunch break. And he's like, what? He said, legally, you have to give me my lunch break. And he said, okay, sure. You go have your lunch break and we'll sort this out. And he's like, back in my day, you know, you do the work that needs to be done, and then afterwards we all go, oh, we pushed, so what a day. And there'll be some kind of reward. You know, we'll sit down and we'll have a late lunch together and we'll feel this sense of accomplishment. But his team's divided up between the people who want their lunch break, who are watching the rest of them work twice as hard because there's half of them trying to get these people in. He's like, mate, it's not easy these days. And we do see that elsewhere. It's definitely, yeah, that is it. Entitlement? I don't know. It's instant. Maybe it's tied to social media as well. Instant. You get what you want when you want it. You press a button, the song's there. You don't have to wait. I wonder if that has something to do with it as well. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's comfort, and I think it's that whole lawnmower parent, helicopter parent, you know, vibe that just the path is it's paved for them. And they don't have to slog their way through. I think it's, you know, Logs is in India at the moment, which has been a real culture shock for him. He landed in New Delhi. New Delhi, he was telling me, just that city, New Delhi, population of Australia, 25 million.
Yeah.
The population of India is 1,400 million people. 1,400 million. Australia's 25 million, right? 1,400 million. And so he's had a real experience over there. And I was on the phone to him just recently and encouraging him, right, to be optimistic in what was some, you know, he had a tough couple of days. And I said, you know, like you could get someone to you know, do some of these things with. I said, but you know what? If you did it with someone, it'd be kind of like going to the gym and picking up two 10-kilo dumbbells and saying to one of the guys, you lift that 10 kilo and I'll lift this 10 kilo, and expecting to grow as much, right?
That's awesome.
I said, but if you just do it by yourself, you're lifting the 20 kilos by yourself, dude. The growth that you'll experience is way, way more. So, you know, maybe just lean into doing it yourself. And experience the growth. And so he has. He's done India all by himself. Got on trains in India and tuk-tuks and, you know, found food places and navigated his way through India by himself. And so the level of growth, and you can see the pain of the heavy lifting that he did in the first few days and the third day and fourth day, and now he's on his fifth day. Just the level of confidence and strength and flexibility that he's now got.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've talked about this before on the podcast, but for me, in my mind, and this might sound weird, I want to be zombie apocalypse ready.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because most people are not zombie apocalypse ready, either physically or mentally.
And when you are, the normal day-to-day or even some things that are pretty chaotic is okay. Like still not great, but they're okay. You can get through them. You can see that light at the end of the tunnel, like kind of being that zombie apocalypse ready. You're like, all right. It's like like him or hate him. It's like David Goggins goes, why do I do hard things? I callous my mind and callous my body because when life goes to knock him down, he's ready. Like he's voluntarily doing hard things to be zombie apocalypse ready. So then when there is death in the family, there is a business failure, something that knocks him about, it's like, all right, not great, but I'm okay with it. Like I can get through it, which is interesting. But not many people, Ben, are willing to be zombie apocalypse ready.
No. And I guess the question is, do they need to be?
Comfort.
Do they need to be? Like, you know, is that a story that serves me? I don't know. I don't know. So, and if it was true, what needs to change? If it is true that doing hard things is good, that being always comfortable is not great, if it is true that we are becoming soft as a culture, but we should be stronger, how do we change that?
Stop the participation awards. That's part of it, maybe. which is great. You can give someone a high five, but don't go, hey, like if you want to get work. And I do this with Si and size 10 and go, don't say, oh, I wish I was good. That's fine. But if you want it, let's put in the work. Like, let's train, let's study, let's whatever you want to be good at, sure, but don't just turn up. You can turn up and play, and that's the value in that too. But if you go, I want to be good, like I think no, you don't. It's not a participation like award. Like, no, yes, you did well and you took part. Awesome. Were you best on ground? No. Like, there's certain, like, not at size age, but there's certain younger leagues that in sport now, which is fascinating. They don't score in the game. Like in younger, like under 6s, under 7s. And I'm like, why? Because when they get to under 9s, under 10s, under 12s, they're definitely scoring. And they're like, oh, because we don't want the kids to lose. That doesn't help.
I think that's the thing. It's the stop sheltering people from failure. You know, allow people to fail, because that's where the lessons are. You know, and we have this culture. I fail so much on my skateboard, surfing, and there's always someone who'll go, oh, you can't be that good. You're always falling off. And my mentality is, that's why I am good, because I'm always falling off. And people think I'm crazy. And I'm like, no, you've got it wrong. If you're not falling off, you're not getting better. Like, I really think that and raise expectations. That if we all individually raise our expectations on what we're capable of, but also what other people are capable of, you know, because other people's expectations have a massive effect on what we're capable of as well. So if I change my expectations of my worth and yours, I know you know, credit where credit's due, doing a great job, but I think you can do better. I don't know whether there's any negatives that can come from that. Kat and I were talking about it. Can you create a negative situation by having higher expectations of someone or yourself? I think you can still appreciate what you've done, but I think, we need higher expectations of each other, and of what we're capable of, and the younger generation. Like, I think you see it as you get older, that you start to do what everyone did to you. Oh, when I was younger, we were stronger, we were tougher. We tell that story. So I wonder whether we can raise our expectations of young people, and that might have an effect. They have to step up, because we're saying, nah, you're more than capable. You're stronger than that. You're smarter than that.
So, Benny, you want to lead us off with a wrap up, a takeaway, some good conversation today in terms of, for our listeners, in terms of, and it may not be an actionable point, but in terms of, it may even be something to ponder. Thoughts?
Yeah, well, I guess what led this off was your question about, you know, why is it people don't cope so well in crazy, awkward, weird, uncomfortable, confusing situations, and I wonder if we just were to try that on today a little bit, that rather than take the same route to work, go a different way. Rather than drive to the shop, walk to the shop. And that sounds really easy, but some of us don't even do that. Rather than, be so careful about how much shopping you get because you've got to carry the bag home or walk the bag home. Do a little bit more shopping. Who's ever done that, right? Because we're just around the corner from Coles here. We did the big shop and we walked there. So, of course, we had to walk back with all these bags. Good. Do hard things, you know. I wonder where today you could find something that would just be hard. And do you know what? It could actually be doing something uncomfortable, like having a conversation with someone at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
There was a lady that was at the coffee shop this morning early. She walked in and she looked really sharp. And she had this kind of business, like a man's business shirt with French cuffs. And just nice pants, and she just looked good. I thought that'd be a great uniform for the new clinic. Like, I need a new uniform, so I grabbed a moment and I walked up to her. I said, look, I just want to say I really like your shirt. Where did you get it? Now, for me, there was no discomfort there at all. But for lots of people, to actually engage with someone like that, that's a really uncomfortable thing to do. That's a hard thing to do. So maybe they could do that. Interesting enough, she said, well, it's actually an op shop shirt. I got an op shop. I said, well, that's no good to me because I'm not being able to get one of those again. Anyway, so just find something a bit hard to do today. Send someone a text that just feels a bit uncomfortable. But it's a love text. It's, hey, I'm thinking of you and hope everything's okay in the world. And that might just feel a little bit hard and a bit uncomfortable. Where could you stretch? Where could you flex? Where could you create more choice in your world? I think that's my kind of wrap for today. What about you, Matty?
I like that, Benny. I think just to add to that, there's some things that they could do. Like, I mean, you mentioned cold. There's some practices as well. Maybe there's something there that you could deliberately practice that is built to make you a little uncomfortable, because that's where, strength and resilience and belief in yourself comes from, being able to endure a bit of uncomfortability. I love that. And I'm going to stick with sort of, that idea of appreciation and expectations, tying into what you're saying. Like, how can you raise your own expectations of yourself and those around you? I really think that's important, that, hold the highest regard for the people around you. So you might have an interaction today where you make an assumption and it's a low expectation of the person that's communicating with you. Raise it. Expect more of them. Expect more of yourself. And I really think that might be a mindset shift that could support you being able to do some of the things Ben's talking about, which is push a little bit harder. I think they work beautifully with each other, that you're capable. Fuck, if you didn't have a single plastic bag and you had all that shopping and you had to get it home, you'd find a fucking way. You would. You'd fucking put it all in your shirt. Like, if you'd find a way. And whatever it is, you're capable, but only if you test yourself. And we've got to test ourselves sometimes just so that we can soak in some of the glory. We are fucking capable. We're really strong. We're resilient. How do we know if we sit in our Uggies on a nice warm couch and we never test ourselves?
Nice.
I would say to both, to allow what both you were saying is flip the script and go, what if it works? Right? What if it works? Like, we think about what if it fails and blah, blah, and then we go, oh, look, we'll kind of tone it down and give it a 7 out of 10 as opposed to give it our all and put in hard work and have high expectation of yourself and others. I think just go, what if it works, and allow yourself to do the hard work, right? Go, if it works, great. But then go allow yourself to work. And I think by doing that, hopefully increases your tolerance to failure, right? And then you go, all right, so by failing, you're learning, but it's like that expectations of others as well. It's like, hey, if they've, instead of cutting tall poppy, cutting him down, like what we should be doing, the expectation is high of someone else is to be lifting him up. You shouldn't be cutting down the poppy. You should be watering the other people's poppies, right? So, but yeah, I would say flip it and go, what if it works?
I love that. That's between the three of us, we got some ingredients here for an awesome, an awesome day. Can I plug this this thing? I think this should be mandatory listening for all students, teachers. I'm that pumped about it. It's so well put together. It's called The Expectation Effect by
I thought you were going to say give our podcast.
I know, mate. Fuck, what are you talking about?
I'm plugging another one because I think it's going to come back full circle for us.
How much are they paying you?
They're putting a tank of fuel, a fuel of tank. That got me here. I got to plug them. I really think that everyone will get a lot out of it. And if you can see blind people doing hard things, that's going to also force you to go, hang on a second. If this guy can do that, I am fully capable. I have 2 eyes. I have 2 arms. I have 2 legs. Maybe I need to stretch myself because this guy's not taking, any excuses. He's killing it.
What's the plug?
And really humble and encouraging others. So it's called The Expectation Effect, and it's by Invincibilia, INVISIBILIA. It's on.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Major platforms.
We'll put a link to it in the show notes.
And comment what you think. Do you think that it's is it plausible? Is it useful? And would it help maybe your kids? If you're an educator or a coach, is it helpful to watch this? And could we encourage others?
Is it a YouTube, Matty?
No, it was a podcast.
But you said watch
it. I don't know why I said that.
Yeah.
Maybe
your ear.
Nice.
Yeah.
Watch it with ears.
Alrighty, team. Thanks for listening to another episode. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for listening to another episode of Lifelong Learner. If you like this episode and want to know more and hear other episodes, head over to lifelonglearnerpodcast.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter, where you'll be the first to know when new podcast episodes come out. And if you want to say hello, tell us a joke, or ask us a question, send us an email at hello@lifelonglearnerpodcast.com. Thanks again.